Hey there folks, Santee at the Arizona Ghost Riders here. Bandanas in the Old West, Part 2. Let's check it out.
Let me tell you something, this country was built on bandanas.
6 years ago, I did a video on bandanas and thought that was it. I covered that topic.
Not a chance.
Then I got questions about things that never occurred to me to talk about. So, here we go. Just to summarize, a very important clothing accessory in the 19th century was the bandana.
I suppose leather jackets and checkered bandanas are rather common out here, aren't they?
Quien sabe, señorita.
It was also referred to as a handkerchief or neckerchief. They could be made from leftover fabric, old clothing, or even store-bought handkerchiefs. Silks, cottons, and wool blends were a few of these fabrics. Cotton ones will pull heat from your body in the winter and cold in the summer, whereas silk is better for temperature control. Bandanas served a number of purposes, from wiping sweat to securing a splint. Hey, Bootleg Jake, what's another use for bandanas?
Oh, you can do all kinds of things with them, especially in first aid. You can wrap wounds with them, bind up, the slings, maybe a head injury or two. Or a flag of truce.
When laborers went into town, they could even fashion it into a tie for a more formal look. In that video, I showed some cavalry reenactors wearing yellow bandanas and mentioned they were not issued to soldiers. However, they were allowed to acquire their own. The problem is the uniform color yellow, which makes it look like an issued piece and everyone's wearing them. That's a Hollywood idea and, as pointed out to me, would really stand out in a gun battle, making the wearer a better target. Don't get me wrong, color in these accessories could be pretty vibrant.
My friendly staff are ranch hands. They're the ones in the red bandanas in the brochure and all around here.
A famous overseas dye method was called turkey red, and a lot of fabric and handkerchiefs were shipped to America.
How do I look? I think you look like a real cowboy. Very dapper. Red bandana.
The dye was what we call today color fast. The process was lengthy and kind of gross. Dung, urine, and blood were used to set it.
That's bloody disgusting.
By 1870, they had a synthetic version of it, which made it less gross. Companies like South Union Mills reproduces handkerchiefs from museum collections that belong to real soldiers from the Civil War. I have a couple of those, and about a dozen others. Yeah, thanks to cohorts Dirty Dan, Sarsaparilla Joe, and Iron Door Dan, I now have more bandanas than hats. If by some strange reason I get bored with those, the wardrobe department at the studio has another couple dozen to choose from.
Yes, we have no bananas. We have no bananas today.
Many of us like a woven design that appears on both sides, so we hunt those down. Because of my daily gig, I wear a bandana. We have sunshine 364.5 days here in Arizona, so it protects the back of my neck from harmful rays. As I spoke about in my reenactorisms video, the misconception of our Old Westians wearing bandanas a specific way can be easily squashed by just looking at photos from the era. Triangle in front or back just depends on usage. Obviously, if I'm riding drag and eating dust, it would be smart to cover my breathing holes. I also want to talk about bandana size. Some people believe the available ones today are too big. I did some research and found that just like everything else in this category, there was no standard. Photo evidence shows a variety of sizes. The National Cowboy Hall of Fame Museum in Oklahoma City featured an exhibit of collected bandanas from the 19th century entitled A Yard of Turkey Red. A yard is 36 inches, and we just talked about the turkey red. According to the research, it was common for cowboys to stroll into a mercantile and ask the owner to cut a square yard, then tie it around their necks. Also, the dimensions are not always symmetrical. That irritates me because a folded rectangular neckerchief makes a funky triangle, but it is historically accurate.
P.S. Please hurry, I've been wearing a bandana as underwear for 3 days now. Look, there's a picture.
Ah!
Some folks take great pride in these accessories and tie them in fancy knots. I love seeing the buckaroo style. I've seen the slip knots and even 4 in hand. but there is no one way to tie it. If you're in a hurry, you just do what you can. Having said that, I've left a couple of links in the description field on how to tie the popular knots.
4-corner cowboy neckerchief knot.
Some used a bandana slide or ring in place of that knot. This was popular with the Californios and the well-to-do folks as it added an air of class to their look. Historian and friend Dave Rogers has one from the period that he wears from time to time. However, because these appear to be somewhat uncommon in the West, I would use them sparingly and always have a good reason for having it. So, use those neckerchiefs. They're so simple and useful and offer that elegant piece of Victorian class.
What are those dogs wearing?
Oh, bandanas. Aren't they cute?
Well, folks, that's it for another episode. Thanks for watching. As always, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on down the trail.